But when I saw the sense of independence, I felt like I lost a sense of myself, because I think in that moment also I was yearning and looking for someone to love me. And I'll be totally honest and say it. My love for my children came from wanting to love them so hard and wanting to be loved back. Yesterday, I took a moment to digress on some things. We're coming off of Mother's Day holiday, and I just began to write. Writing for me is like secondhand. I have to kind of get it out. In my head, I tend to overthink, so writing it is kind of like letting it go. And so I started to reminisce on my first taste of motherhood, and I became a mother younger than I had wanted to. But life is full of surprises, and it does so the way that it is supposed to be. And I recall trying to, be a mother and going through college and trying to handle a job, and the notion of responsibilities were too much. And I also remember just being afraid that I, sitting in the capacity of yesterday, literally like being a child, and today having to throw all of my responsibility into adulthood and being the overseer of a little person, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot of pressure compounded, and I often question if I was able to navigate the way that I should have. It's funny to me that for many women, we have references of mothers through our own mothers and through our aunts and through our grandmothers. We have the prime example of how the inner workings of motherhood work, and how we love, and how we, give the duty of responsibility, how we put our best foot forward and do what it is required for us to do to be the best mom ever. But I'll be honest that there were many times that I just didn't get it right. I'll be honest and say this as well. There were times that I, in my younger years, showed up toxic, and now I know it in my older years. There was a place and a point where I would tell my boys to not cry, because boys don't cry. And they were so easy to be agitated, and they would cry among each other, and I would quickly tell them to hush it up. And I realized as I had gotten older, my boys had gotten older, that I had really set a precedence for them to cut themselves off and become non-emotional. And I remember having the moment where one of my boys, there was something wrong, I can't remember, and he began to cry, and he was waiting on me. He hit himself to cry, and he was waiting on me to shut him off. And I came to him and I said, I may have told you then that you shouldn't cry, but I was wrong for that. And I allowed him to cry, and we talked about it. And it was in that moment where he opened up and he expressed himself. It was something going on with school. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can recall it. And there was something bothering him. And I told him it's okay to cry, because I wanted to undo that thing that I had put into him at a very young age. And I'm saying all of this to say that many young boys were told from a young age not to cry, because boys are supposed to be strong. But now we see that boys who become men are unavailable and emotionless, and not able to coincide with their feelings, and not able to express. So I wanted to undo that change, and I understood how important it was for me as a mother, as a woman, to show them different aspects of growing up and being. I will say this in motherhood to my boys. There was a point where in their growing, they didn't need me anymore. And I became sad. One by one, they began to fall off from this love that they had for their mama. All three of them were very close to me at a point where they wouldn't leave my side, and boys love their mamas. But when I saw the sense of independence, I felt like I lost a sense of myself, because I think in that moment also I was yearning and looking for someone to love me. And I'll be totally honest and say it. My love for my children came from wanting to love them so hard and wanting to be loved back. And that was the aha moment when it set into me, and I realized that I was doing more damage than I was doing good. And I mentioned that and bring that up because there are so many mothers out there who are being that way with their children, with their boys especially, not recognizing and understanding that they are treating their sons, in a sense, bringing them up and showering them and loving them so hard, replacing them with broken parts of themselves. The moment my children began to become independent and I felt that I was suffering from the lack of attention that they used to give me, asking me questions and, Mama, can you do this? And Mama, can we do this? And that sense of all of that was gone. I realized how much I had clinged to this notion of my children wanting to always be available for me. That was one of the moments that I digressed on yesterday in my thinking. And lastly, going back to not knowing the counterparts of being a mother, but surely establishing and putting my footing in being a mother, I realized that even with self-doubt, even with not understanding how life will move or what life will give me, I was already prepared. I'll tell you something that's really funny. So I've always been squeamish. The sight of blood, the sight of anything is disgusting to me. And there was, in children, and especially boys, who are very rough, they'll jump off of anything. They feel like they can fly. And I remember being Dr. Mama the first time my two boys, who are 16 months apart, decided that they, wanted to be acrobats and fell off the bunk beds. And there was blood everywhere. And it's so funny that in an instant I forgot all about that. And even going back to that, wiping snot off of their noses. We get in a rush and we just gonna take that hand and we're gonna wipe it off. All of that subsides. It's amazing to me that in those moments we don't think, we just move. And when we see our babies feeling sick, it's like we just know what to do. I think what's more amazing is when our children were babies and we know the I'm wet cry from the I'm sleepy cry to the I'm sick cry. It's amazing that we know the differences between the three. And my husband knew none of that. So it was me picking my children up and knowing they're ready to go to sleep or they're hungry. I mean, it's a sense of beauty in becoming a mother that is so outstanding. I wanted to share that with you because I think, motherhood is challenging in its own, having to take on responsibility that, maybe we did want, or maybe wasn't ready for. No one talks about how difficult it can be when there are moments when you just literally become overwhelmed and you're just unsure of yourself. And then your children remind you of just how imperfectly perfect you really are. If you are a mother, operating in whatever capacity of being a mother, aunt, a grandmother, a sister, whatever, you're mothering a person, I want to extend my thank you to you, because it is such a beautiful and fleeing feeling to know that as women we can operate and move in ways in which we didn't have to be educated on. Motherhood is beyond beautiful. It is just exciting. There is this wisdom that we gain. There's this pride that we hold. We wear this proud S on our chest and we move organically. That was my thoughts for today. I know I've been away. Thank y'all for, keeping on. I promise I'll upload more. I'm one of those people, I'm not going to be pushed to do anything that I'm just not feeling, but I'm proud that you are here. I looked at my subscribers and I don't know where y'all came from, but I appreciate y'all. Take motherhood with love. It is indeed a blessing. All right, y'all. Peace.